We'll deliver a full recap of today's game, including highlights from the biggest moments. Listen to Craig Stammen's post-game comments. Plus, we'll bring you today's play of the game. From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
Back here at Petco Park, welcoming to our Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as the Padres fall in the rubber game of this three-game set against the LA Dodgers by a final score of 4-0. A lot to do on our post-game coverage. We'll recap this game from start to finish. We have all the radio highlights for you here from Padres manager Craig Stammen, full look at the out-of-town scoreboard, and much, much more. As always, our post-game coverage brought to you by Jamul Casino Resort. Hey, player, need a little me time? Jamul Spa was just named one of the top 100 spas in America. Jamul Casino Resort, the player's place. Well, this was certainly an entertaining series from just a pure baseball standpoint. Two rivals going at it. They entered this series, a half game separating the two teams entering this series on Monday. The Dodgers will end this series a game and a half up on the Padres for first place in the National League West. But look, these were tight games. They were intense games. They were games that had big moments. We saw that on Monday in the 1-0 Padre win. We certainly saw that last night in a 5-4 Dodger win. And I would really say the same thing here tonight in what was a 4-0 Padre loss. But I will say this, I did feel like this game today was a lot more frustrating from a Padres standpoint than what yesterday was. Yesterday, that was a really good baseball game that came down to Mason Miller making his first career major league error. And the Dodgers took advantage. They scored one more run than the Padres did, and they won what was a really tight, tense baseball game 5-4. That's going to happen. Errors happen. And you know what? Still had an opportunity to win this series here today. I'll tell you why this one I think is a little bit more frustrating. It's because the Dodgers had an early lead. Ohtani hits the home run before he even takes the mound in the first inning. They get one more in the second. They're leading 2-0. They get one more in the fifth inning. But it's not like the Padres didn't have their opportunities down 3-0 in this game. They had two on with one out in the fourth inning. They had the bases loaded for Fernando Tatis Jr. in the fifth inning, didn't score. They had two more runners on first and third in the eighth inning, down 3-0, and didn't score. And ultimately, the Dodgers get the home run from Teoscar Hernandez in the ninth inning to make it 4-0. But this was a game where the Padres did have opportunities, and the Padre bullpen did a really good job keeping the Padres in it. But the number that sticks out, 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position when they had the opportunities here tonight in a relatively close game. The Padres could not take advantage. And to me, that is the story of the night, because the Padres had a big hit or two in some of those spots. This might be a very different result here tonight. So they had their opportunities in this one, but could not take advantage as they get shut out. Another thing to keep in mind as we get our post-game coverage started here tonight, Jackson Merrill came out of this game pretty early. He leapt up by the center field fence on the Ohtani home run, hit his back really hard into the fence, and clearly was a little shaken up by it. And, in the dugout looked uncomfortable, got checked on by the training staff after an at-bat, and then he came out of the game. So we'll hear the latest on Jackson Merrill. Hopefully nothing too serious for him, but it was significant enough where he did come out of this game. So all in all, not a great night for the Padres. They lose 4-0. They lose 2 out of 3 to the Dodgers. I'll reiterate what I said at the start of this series. Any way this series went, it wasn't going to make or break your season here in May. It just wasn't. So Padres will end this series a game and a half out of first place in the National League West. But, of course, I say that with the caveat of it is very, very early. It is May. So long way to go. But obviously Padres were in a good position to maybe win this series with the win on Monday night. Could not do it as the Dodgers win the final 2 games. When we come back, we'll recap this game from start to finish. We'll hear from Craig Stammen coming up a little bit later as well. Final here tonight, Dodgers 4 and the Padres nothing. We're back with more after this on the Padres Radio Network. Casino Resort Padres postgame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we continue our postgame coverage. Dodgers win it here tonight by a final score of 4-0 to take 2 out of 3 against the Padres in this 3-game series. Padres just getting started, though, on what is a lengthy homestand. The Padres will welcome in the A's on Friday for the start of a 3-game series, and then 3 more against the Phillies Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, an off day tomorrow. So a good opportunity for everybody, including myself, to be honest with you, to reset and to recharge a little bit, come back ready to go at Petco Park on Friday for what is the start of a 3-game series against the A's. So still 6 more games on this homestand, but the Padres do lose the first series of this homestand to the Dodgers. We'll hear from Craig Stammen coming up in just a little bit, so stay tuned for that. But first, let's recap this one.
Which moments determine the outcome of today's game? We'll paint you a picture with our game highlights on the Padres Radio Network.
Randy Vasquez took the mound for the Padres in the top of the first inning. The Dodgers starting pitcher, Shohei Ohtani, led off.
Ohtani to lead off. Left-hand hitter swings at the first pitch, sends it high and deep to right center field. Merrill's back. He is at the wall, measuring it up. He leaps, and Jackson cannot get it. A home run on pitch 1 for the Dodgers starter, Shohei Ohtani, giving the Dodgers a 1-0 lead.
Yep, just like that, Ohtani making the start here tonight. We talked in the pregame about how good he's been on the mound, and wouldn't you know it, very first pitch of the game, Ohtani sends it out to right center. Merrill did all he could, leaping at the fence to try to haul it in, couldn't do it, and the Dodgers had a 1-0 lead. 8th home run of the season for Shohei Ohtani. LA would get 2 more base runners on, but Vasquez got a double play from Andy Pages to end the inning. Vasquez then ran into trouble again in the second. Max Muncy hit a leadoff double. Will Smith singled, runners on first and third with nobody out. Teoscar Hernandez hit a sac fly to right. That scored Muncy. Dodgers led 2-0, but Vasquez again did a good job at limiting damage in that second inning. Meanwhile, Shohei Ohtani was perfect through 3 innings to begin his day on the mound. The Padres still trailed 2-0 in the 4th inning. Fernando Tatis Jr. drew a leadoff walk against Ohtani. Gavin Sheets hit a 1-out single to put 2 on base, but then Ohtani retired Manny Machado and Xander Bogaerts to end the inning. Though the Padres still trailing 2-0 as Vasquez took the mound to begin the 5th. He walked Ohtani and Mookie Betts to begin the inning. With runners on first and third, 1 out, Kyle Tucker was coming up, so the Padres went to left-hander Wandy Peralta to face him.
The pitch is lined into right field. That's a base hit. Ohtani will come in to score. On his way to third base is Freeman. The throw is not in time. An RBI single for Kyle Tucker makes it 3-0.
So Kyle Tucker coming through for the Dodgers with an RBI single, a 3-0 Dodger lead through the top of the 5th inning. For the YouTube audience, I'm sorry, we're back up and running there. Sorry, got a little distracted, had a little technical difficulty on YouTube. All right, we're back. Peralta did limit the damage in that 5th inning. He got Andy Pages to ground into a double play to end the inning. So a 3-0 Dodger lead after 4.5. Padres loaded the bases against Ohtani with 1 out in the bottom half of the 5th inning. Fernando Tatis Jr. grounding into a 6-4-3 double play to end the inning. Big opportunity gone to waste for the Padres in that 5th inning. That was it for Ohtani. He went 5 scoreless innings and allowed 3 hits. Padres bullpen from that point did a really good job keeping it the deficit at 3-0. Wandy Peralta pitched the scoreless 6th. Yuki Matsui pitched the scoreless 7th. Matsui walked 2 in the top of the 8th, but Ron Marinaccio got a double play to end the inning. The problem was the Padres weren't scoring against the Dodger pen. Edgardo Enriquez pitched the scoreless 6th inning. Blake Treinen tossed the scoreless 7th. Padres still down 3-0 going to the bottom of the 8th inning. Right-hander Kyle Hurt came in to pitch for LA, and the Padres again rallied. Ramon Laureano singled. Fernando Tatis Jr. hit an infield single. Max Muncy made a throwing error on that little roller that allowed Laureano to go to third base. So Again, the tying run at the plate for the Padres, but Miguel Andujar hit into an inning-ending 6-4-3 double play. Padres down 3-0 going to the ninth inning. Marinaccio back on the mound. Teoscar Hernandez hit a solo home run off Marinaccio. That made it a 4-0 game. Will Klein came in and pitched a scoreless ninth inning to put this game to bed. And that was it here tonight. Padres shut out in this series finale, and the rubber game of this series. Final score, Dodgers 4 and the Padres nothing. 4 runs, 10 hits, 1 error for LA. No runs, 5 hits, no errors for San Diego. Dodgers improved to 31-19 on the season. Padres dropped to 29-20. When we come back, we'll hear from Padres manager Craig Stammen as the Padres fall on this Wednesday night here in downtown San Diego. 4-0 to the Dodgers. Our postgame coverage continues after this. Our Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Final score here tonight, the Dodgers 4 and the Padres nothing, as the Padres drop 2 out of 3 to the Dodgers to open up this 9-game homestand. Padres winning on Monday night 1-0, losing yesterday by a final score of 5-4 in what was a really intense back and forth game yesterday. And then here today, Padres getting shut out by Shohei Ohtani and the Dodger bullpen 4-0, the final score. Before we hear from Padres manager Craig Stammen, couple of notes for you from this game. I said it in the opening segment. I'll say it again. To me, this was a more frustrating loss than last night, because last night it happens. I mean, Mason Miller committed a throwing error, a sac fly. Dodgers got a run in the 9th inning. They lost the game. Is what it is. It happens. Errors happen. Here tonight, I think it was a little bit different, and that's because the Padres had their opportunities. They had an opportunity against Ohtani in the 4th inning, 2 on with 1 out, did not score. Bases loaded in the 5th inning against Ohtani, trailing 3-0. Fernando Tatis Jr. coming up And Tatis swung on the first pitch and hit a ground ball to Mookie Betts at shortstop, turned it into a 6-4-3 double play to end the inning. And then a big opportunity in the 8th inning, still down 3-0, runners at the corners with 1 out, and Miguel Andujar grounds into a double play to end that inning. And the Padres ultimately do not take advantage of any of those opportunities. They go 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position tonight. So they had their chances. They did. And the pitching and the bullpen did a good enough job to keep them right in the game. And the Padres just couldn't capitalize on those chances. So to me, that's why I think tonight's quite a bit more frustrating than last night's tough loss to the Dodgers. The other note from this game, Jackson Merrill, when Shohei Ohtani hit the home run on the first pitch of the game from Randy Vasquez, Merrill made a leap by the fence, and he almost made the catch. I mean, it looked like he got pretty close. He made a really high leap, gave it his all, no doubt. But he went hard into the fence, and immediately when he landed on the ground, it clearly was in some discomfort. Hard to see and tell exactly what was bothering him, but he was getting checked on in the dugout. I was getting checked on after his at-bat in the 2nd inning, and ultimately he did come out of this game. So I'm sure we're going to get an update from Craig Stammen on Jackson Merrill as well. With all that said, let's go downstairs and hear some post-game reaction.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres skipper Craig Stammen. Served up by Sinley Food. If you've had better chicken, you must be a rooster.
How would you describe the challenge of facing Ohtani and the Dodgers bullpen tonight?
Yeah, good pitchers. We knew we were in for a test. It's always fun to battle against the best. We battled them as tough as we could and came out on the short end of the stick.
How did you process the team's inability to scratch runs across when you did have opportunities tonight?
Yeah, you're right. We had some opportunities. We definitely had some opportunities to break it open, and a couple double plays, nip that in the bud. So, we got to come up with a hit in that situation or a good at bat, and we just weren't able to tonight.
How's Jackson Merrill doing with his back?
Yeah, Jackson's doing all right. He's getting testing done. We'll know more tomorrow and the next day.
What is your understanding of what happened with Jackson?
It was when he was going up to rob the home run, first pitch of the game. He just hit his back on the fence and just was feeling some discomfort in that area.
That first time you guys went out and talked to him, did you think maybe at that point you were taking him out? Did he talk his way in after he got?
Yeah, the swings he took, he was just grimacing and giving bad body language, and so just had to talk to him. And he's one of those kids, like, he's probably just never going to let me. He's never going to say I need to come out of the game. I have to personally take him out of the game, and so tried to let him gut it out a little bit, and just even moving around the outfield didn't look right to me.
You've been pretty adamant that it's May and the standings don't matter and the opponent and all that, but is there anything you took out of this series, or what did you? The 2 really good games and the kind of one that wasn't so.
Yeah, I thought tonight was a good ball game. You take out all the double plays, and I think we would have had a chance. To me, it was closer than what the score indicated. They were able to push, first inning home run on the first pitch of the game. It's something really as a pitcher you can't control. You're going to throw a strike on the first pitch, and he did something with it. Randy kind of limited the damage in the other innings to keep us in the game, and then another solo home run at the end. And we had, bases loaded, nobody out, bases first and third, nobody out, and then bases loaded, 1 out, and we had another chance to score. So, a hit here and there, and that game's a lot different. So I think it was 3 close games. They're going to battle us. We're going to battle them. It's going to be a lot of fun for the rest of the season.
What did you make of Randy? And like you said, he had to battle a little bit today.
Yeah. He did. He battled, and he definitely kept us in the game. And, against their lineup, that's a pretty good job. They're a tough lineup, and they get going on a day and patient, getting the walks and getting some big hits. They're tough to deal with, and so he hung in there through that 5th inning, just walked those 2 guys. Otherwise, I think he'd have got through the 5th and maybe had a chance to get to the 6th.
That's maybe a last question, but for Fernando to move the ball in the air, like what needs to happen? What needs to happen to kind of start slugging in the air?
Yeah, I mean, he's working every day to try to figure that out. It's not like he doesn't know and that we're ignorant to it. The hitting coaches are trying to rack their brains, and so is Fernando. And he's trying to do it physically also. Credit to him in the meantime. He's playing great defense and running the bases really well. He's trying to impact the game in different ways until he finds his swing.
generally speaking tonight, I know this is a very, very small victory, but it seemed to be indicative of what you guys have done at the plate more. You got Shohei out after 5, first team to do that, longer at bats. I mean, have you felt like you are seeing progress?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to count that as a win in the major leagues. It only counts at the end of the day if you're ahead in the scoreboard. Moral victories, we don't keep track of those. But in the way that we took at bats, it was a positive way of us sticking to a game plan that we had decided before the game and tried to execute it. Now the other part of that is how do you execute it and then score runs with it? We're slowly but surely, I think, getting there. We had a good weekend in Seattle. We had a good second game here against the Dodgers, but the first and third games were, kind of tough on us.
The at-bats by Fernando have become more increasingly like the one where he grounded the double play, where maybe he's chasing something. It's not those battle at-bats like he had. How much of that is a part of his struggles at this point, too?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Natural for anyone to press when they're trying to get out of a slump. I think we're seeing that from a couple guys. And, early swings and swinging at a lot of things that they don't normally swing at. It's tough. This game is a mentally tough game. And, especially when you're struggling, you want to get out of it so fast. And sometimes the opposite is true of how you want to need to get out of it. And so, it's up to us coaches to talk to Fernando and be able to pat him on the back and try to teach patience to him and preach patience to him. To help him get through this struggle, probably the biggest struggle that he's had in his major league career at the plate.
That was Padres manager Craig Stammen following this 4-0 loss for the Padres against the Dodgers here tonight in the rubber game of this series. Sam Levitt back with you on our post-game coverage brought to you by Jamul Casino Resort, the Players Place. Let's first get to the update on Jackson Merrill. Not a ton of information there. It was the back for Jackson Merrill. That's what it appeared when he came out of the game. He is getting imaging, and the Padres will have more information later. You certainly hope it is nothing too serious, nothing too damaging for Jackson Merrill, but he did come out of the game after he slammed into that center field fence trying to go up and get what ended up being the Ohtani home run to start the game. So again, he's getting imaging, not a ton of information. I'm sure we'll have more info on Friday about Jackson's status. And look, who knows, maybe he'll be back in the lineup Friday. You never know, but was significant enough where he did come out of this game. A lot of questions about Fernando Tatis Jr. tonight. And look, I think rightfully so, for two reasons. I think it was, I think because of the at-bat in the fifth inning where he came up with the bases loaded, Padres trailing 3-0. He swung at a first pitch sweeper from Shohei Ohtani, sort of on the outer part of the plate. Probably not a great swing decision from Tatis. And look, I never, ever, ever pretend to be the hitting guru, okay? But if you look at where the pitch was, it was kind of off the plate, and he rolled over it and ended up being a 6-4-3 double play to end the inning. Could have been sort of the biggest Padre moment of the game, considering the situation, and they had Ohtani on the ropes. And look, the Padres, like Craig Stammen alluded to, or Craig was asked about, they did, to their credit tonight, if you want to take a silver lining from this loss, they did battle Ohtani well enough to get him out of the game after 5 innings. And that was the first time he had not gone 6 innings at least in any start this season. So they did do that. But, something I really like about Craig, he'll never, to this point, he does not, sugarcoat it. He'll say, yeah, that's all right. But, that's not the goal here, is to, we're trying to win baseball games. I do like Craig Craig is always, I think, pretty honest, and kind of real about the result of the game. And, he doesn't seem to be a huge moral victories guy, which I can appreciate. So, again, little silver lining, they got Ohtani out of the game. But I do think the double play sort of, unfortunately, highlighted what's going on with Fernando. And look, the questions are there right now. I mean, it's 48 games in now. His average is down to 239. He's OPSing 590. I mean, this is the number beyond even the 0 home runs. This is the number, which is just sort of mind-boggling. He has 6 extra base hits in 48 games. We're going towards 200 at bats. He's at 180 after this series. So, I think obviously he's searching for answers. The Padres are searching for answers with him. It's just kind of remarkable. I mean, we're getting towards late May, and this is still going on with the no home runs and, what is definitely the deepest slump of his major league career. So, look, gets highlighted here tonight. Look, the Padres will be the best version of themselves when he gets it going, when he figures this thing out. And I think the only thing you can do is just sort of hope that he's going to get there, and it's going to come at some point. But obviously, it's been a big headline of the early part of the season, and I think that kind of got magnified a little bit tonight because of the double play in the 5th inning. But again, wasn't the only opportunity the Padres had in this game. I mean, again, they had 2 on with 1 out in the 4th inning with Manny and Bogarts coming up, didn't score. They had runners on 1st and 3rd in the 8th inning, and Duhar up. He grounded into a double play to end the inning. So there were some really big moments for the Padres where they had chances to create momentum, chances to, get right back in this game. Not that they were ever out of it. At most, it was 3-0 before the 9th inning. So, look, unfortunately, one of those games, they needed a big hit. They could not get it. And they fall 4-0 here tonight. When we come back, we'll get into our daily awards. We have a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard coming your way as well. And if you want to get a phone call in, you can do that, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973, the phone number to call. Final score here tonight, Dodgers 4 and the Padres 0 on the Padres Radio Network. Our Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. Hey, player, the rooftop pool's open. Day passes are available, and the spa is calling your name. Jamul Casino Resort, the Players' Place. Padres fall 4-0 to the LA Dodgers here tonight in the rubber game of this 3-game series. If you want to get a phone call in, number to call is always 833-288-0973. Again, 833-288-0973. The phone number to call. We'll have a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard coming up in just a little bit as well. But first, let's tell you about today's relief pitcher of the game.
Which pitcher entered the game and slammed the door shut? This is today's relief pitcher of the game, brought to you by San Diego criminal defense attorney David P. Shapiro. We help good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime. Learn more at davidpshapirolaw.com.
Relief pitcher of the game here tonight. Tell you what, overall, the Padres bullpen did a good job in this game. I said it at the top. I've said it, I think, a couple of times already. Again, this was a frustrating one tonight because the bullpen did a good enough job. And quite frankly, I know Randy only went 4 innings and a third tonight, but he did a good enough job at limiting the damage and at least giving the Padres a chance to win this game. And then they had the opportunities, they had the chances, but couldn't find a way to come through in them. So you look at the bullpen here tonight. Wandy Peralta did allow an inherited runner to score in the 5th inning with the Kyle Tucker RBI single. That made it 3-0. But then Peralta, again, to his credit, this was the story of the night for Padres pitching. Gets a double play to get out of the 5th inning, then puts together a scoreless 6th inning. Yuki Matsui, a scoreless 7th inning, gets the first out of the 8th inning. Marinaccio comes in, gets a big double play from Will Smith to keep it 3-0. So you had Matsui going an inning and a third scoreless. Marinaccio does, unfortunately, give up the home run to Teoscar Hernandez in the 9th inning. But we'll stay on the Padres side of things for relief pitcher of the game. We'll give it to Yuki because, look, Wandy gave up an inherited runner. Marinaccio gave up the home run. And Yuki Matsui ultimately inning and a third scoreless. And I do want to just point out one thing that I do think has gone very, very under the radar. And I should also mention, as I say this, that Yuki walked 2 guys in that 8th inning and Marinaccio got the double play, so he got helped out. However, do you realize that Yuki Matsui, 5 appearances in, not only does he have a 0 ERA, he's not allowed an earned run, he's also pitched 10 innings in the 5 appearances. Let me look it up here. I'm hold on one second. Let me bring up his game log just to make sure I'm not going crazy. Yeah. I mean, think about this. Every one of his 5 appearances so far since coming off the IL have been more than 1 inning. In fact, tonight, the inning and a third was his shortest outing of the season. He's gone 2 2/3, 2 innings, 2 innings, 2 innings, and tonight an inning and a third. And he's given up a grand total of 5 hits. He has walked 6. That's the one blemish. But again, he's been charged with no runs. So how about that? Yuki Matsui, 0 ERA, 5 appearances and 10 innings in. And again, to me, the bullpen did its job tonight, kept the Padres in this game, and the offense could not capitalize on that. Let's tell you about the Padres' heart of the order.
Let's take the pulse of the Padres and check in on the Heart of the Order, presented by Palomar Health, the official healthcare provider of 97.3 The Fan. Palomar Health, leading with heart for every patient. Palomar Health is reimagining healthcare.
Part of the order here tonight, Sheets, Machado, Bogarts, 3-4-5, and it was a very quiet night for those hitters. Sheets did have a single against Shohei Ohtani in this game. That came in the 4th inning. But aside from that, everything else was an 0 for. Manny 0 for 4, Bogarts 0 for 4, so a very quiet 1 for 12 combined between Sheets, Machado, and Bogarts here tonight. And that's a look at the Padres' heart of the order. When we come back, we'll have a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard, our play of the game. If you want to get a phone call in, talk Padre baseball, 833-288-0973. Phone number to dial, again, 833-288-0973. The phone number to call. Final score here tonight, Dodgers 4 and the Padres nothing. We'll also take a look ahead at the series coming up against the A's when they come to town on Friday. More after this on the Padres Radio Network. Resort Padres post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we continue to wrap this one up. Final score here tonight, Dodgers 4 and the Padres nothing. Another sold-out crowd here tonight in downtown San Diego. More than 41,000, nearly 42,000 in the building, but the building has cleared out now. So just me and you. You and I. Would it be me and you or you and I? You and I, you and me. I think it would be just you and me. Never thought about it. I should know this as somebody who talks for a living. Anyway, 4-0. Dodgers win it tonight here against the Padres. And the rubber game of this 3-game series. We'll have a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard coming up in just a little bit. Our play of the game. If you want to squeeze a phone call in, you can do that at 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Do want to give you a little preview of the A's series coming up. Padres welcome in the A's for a 3-game series Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And we do have the starting pitchers in that series. It'll be Walker Buehler on Friday night. Lucas Giolito will make his Petco Park debut in a Padre uniform on Saturday, and it'll be Michael King on Sunday. But I do want to point out, just so you know, I mean, this is not a bad A's team. This is not an A's team of years past. Now, look, I'm not telling you they're sitting, 15 games above 500. They're 24-24. However, they are currently sitting in first place in the American League West, and they just got a lot of good young players. When you talk about Nick Kurtz, when you talk about Shea Langoliers and Brent Rooker and Zach Geloff and Jacob Wilson, and it got a lot of good young players. That's put it this way. If you're sitting there thinking, the A's should be an easy series, let me warn you a little bit. They're a team on the rise. They've got some really good young talent. And again, even though they're only 24-24, they are sitting in first place in the American League West. So we'll talk much more about the A's on Friday before that series opener, but don't get fooled, by the A's of years past. This is a young up-and-coming team in the A's, and the Padres will see them starting on Friday for a 3-game series, and then you got a tough series against the Phillies beginning on Monday as this 9-game homestand continues. Speaking of those teams, let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
We have one game going on, and speaking of the A's, they have a 6-5 lead. They just took a lead in the 10th inning against the Angels. That is the lone game going on right now. So A's trying to move above 500 in Anaheim right now. Everything else has gone final. Reds beat the Phillies 9-4 in Philadelphia today. Sal Stewart, his 12th home run of the year in that win for Cincinnati. Rays beat the Orioles 5-3 in Tampa Bay. Rays, the best record in baseball right now, 33-15 on the season. Twins beat the Astros 4-1 in Minnesota. Rangers 5 and the Rockies 4 in Colorado today. Rangers scoring 2 runs in the top of the 9th inning in that game to go on and win it. Arizona beating San Francisco. D-backs over the Giants 6-3 in Arizona. Ketel Marte a home run in that game for the D-backs. Mariners beat the White Sox 5-4 in Seattle. Randy Arozarena a home run for the M's. Braves beat the Marlins 9-1 in Miami. Final in Detroit, Guardians 3, Tigers 2 in 10 innings. Nationals beat the Mets 8-4 in D.C. C.J. Abrams hit his 10th home run of the season in that game. Juan Soto did have 2 home runs at his former home ballpark in Washington. 2 home runs for Soto in that game, but again, Nationals do win it 8-4. Blue Jays edged by the Yankees tonight 2-1 in New York. Red Sox beat the Royals 4-3 in Kansas City. Brewers swept the Cubs. They blanked them 5-0 at Wrigley Field tonight. Cubs have got off to such a good start. They're struggling right now. Kyle Harrison, who pitched against the Padres last week, he went 7 scoreless innings, 11 strikeouts in that game for Milwaukee. Pirates blanked the Cardinals 7-0 in St. Louis. And and that is a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Wednesday evening. Again, final score, Dodgers 4 and the Padres nothing. Let's hear tonight's play of the game.
One bounce, one hit, one pitch can be the difference between victory and defeat. What was the most important play in today's game? This is today's play of the game. Presented by Bill Howe Plumbing, Heating and Air, Restoration and Flood. We know how.
Ohtani to lead off. Left-hand hitter swings at the first pitch. Sends it high and deep to right center field. Merrill's back. He is at the wall, measuring it up. He leaps, and Jackson cannot get it. A home run on pitch one for the Dodgers starter, Shohei Ohtani, giving the Dodgers a 1-0 lead.
I hate to say it, but that is going to be our play of the game here tonight. Ohtani homering on the very first pitch of the game before he ever threw a pitch of his own. Gave the Dodgers an early 1-0 lead immediately. And look, hey, it's obviously part of the deal with Ohtani. I mean, he's a remarkable player, a one-of-a-kind player. I think we all understand that. And goes out there and hits a home run and then puts up 5 shutout innings. And look, the Padres, again, said it a little bit earlier, they did a good job getting him out of the game tonight, but wasn't enough, obviously. And look, it's our play of the game because you could argue it kind of set the tone for the night. Padres down 1-0. Dodgers got a second run in the second. They got a run in the 5th inning on the Tucker RBI single. And again, and I'm sounding like a broken record because I've said this a number of times, but the Padres did have their opportunities in this game. I mean, again, the opportunity in the 4th, 2 on, bases loaded in the 5th, 2 on in the 8th inning. And what was at that point a 2-0 game, a 3-0 game. So a hit here or there could have totally changed how this outcome would have went tonight. But the Dodgers do win it 4-0. The Ohtani home run, his 8th of the season. So he does that, scores a couple of runs, and also goes 5 shutout innings as Ohtani picks up his 4th win of this season. Again, taking a look at the upcoming starting pitching matchups, or I should say the Padres starting pitchers, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Right-hander Walker Buehler on the mound for the Padres on Friday. It'll be right-hander Lucas Giolito making his Petco Park debut on Saturday, and then Michael King on the mound Sunday. First pitch on Friday, 6:40 p.m. Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show will begin at 5:40. Certainly hope you can join us then, and certainly hope you can make it out to the ballpark at some point this weekend. Should be a very nice weekend of baseball. Like I said, A's are a good, talented, sort of up-and-coming young team. So you won't want to miss the A's in town, and then the Phillies come to town for a 3-game series beginning on Monday. As always, if you missed any portion of our post-game coverage, you can go back and listen to all of it on the Inside San Diego Baseball podcast, available on the Odyssey app or wherever you find your podcast. You can also go back on the 97.3 The Fan YouTube channel and watch any portion of our post-game coverage there as well. By the way, I do want to just say one more thing about our play of the game. For anybody that's tuning in for the first time, keep this in mind whenever it comes to, and I don't really know why I'm saying this. It just kind of popped into my head because maybe I haven't said it in a while. Keep in mind when it comes to our daily awards, okay, we try to keep it as Padres-centric as possible. However, there are certain nights where it's, admittedly, because of what happens in a game and the outcome, hard to do that. And in a game like this, where the Padres got shut out and it went the way it went, sometimes the awards, the play of the game, things like that, they're going to go in the other direction. And unfortunately, it doesn't give me any pleasure for it to be a Dodger highlight for play of the game. But there are some games and just some days where that's the way it goes because of what happened in the game. So I don't know. I just felt like reiterating that for any of our newer listeners here on the Padres Radio Network. Take a look at the final totals here tonight for the Dodgers. 4 runs, 10 hits, 1 error. They left on 8. For the Padres, no runs, 5 hits, no errors. They left on 5. Winning pitcher here tonight, Shohei Ohtani, who improves to 4-2. Losing pitcher, Randy Vasquez, who drops to 5-2. Time of game, 2 hours and 45 minutes in the crowd at Petco Park tonight. The 20th sellout of 2026 in this building, 41,888. Once again, first pitch on Friday at 6:40. Our pregame coverage begins at 5:40. Until then, for our great studio coordinator, Kyle Ovenshire, I'm Sam Levitt saying so long and good night from Petco Park. And the final score here today, the Los Angeles Dodgers 4 and the San Diego Padres 0. Enjoy the off day. We'll talk to you on Friday right here on the Padres Radio Network. Have a great night, everybody.